Here I am walking around one of the big box stores, taking a look to see what they have pulled out. This is coal lumber. It's discounted. It's usually, for myself, it's very usable. And I'd say 90% of my projects come from these coal piles. So it makes it a little bit more profitable for myself. This day I came home with this little trunk load here, ran about 150 bucks, but it was close to $400 worth of lumber. Just need to clean my mess here and get ready to go. So here's my little space. I've got about maybe 10 feet, but it's a 2-car wide, so I do pretty good in this little space. I got my little table here, my saw, my planer. Anyhow, now that I'm cleaned up and ready to go, the project today is raised bed garden. So I've got a really good friend of mine. She's my local bartender. Last couple years, she's helped me out with starter plants for the garden, and this year she bought a house and moved, so I'm going to build her a raised bed garden at her new place. So this is 3 weekends worth of looking for coal lumber, damaged lumber at Home Depot or Lowe's, doesn't matter to me. You can kind of see these boards here have some bends in them. See how there's some cosmetic blemishes. They're not the straightest, but it's gonna look good. So anyhow, I'm gonna go through here and see what I can come up with, and then you guys will build along with me. So if you're watching along, just bear with me. Still learning the video editing thing, and it's really hard to squeeze an hour and a half worth of footage into something that someone's actually going to watch. 10, 15, 20 minutes at the most. So this is me cutting. I was trying to determine the largest planter that I could build with what I had. And then the future plan is to also build some more. So I wanted to build something that I could duplicate. So with the pieces I had, we went ahead and decided to build a 10-foot by 4-foot wide, which is a good size for square foot gardening. You can reach both sides of the planter. You can reach 2 foot in, basically, is the idea. So I'm cutting all my pieces that I determined I would use for my sides down to 10 foot, and after that I move on to the ends, which this went fairly quickly. After determining what I was going to use and how I was going to cut it, it probably only took about 15-20 minutes to cut all the pieces. Alright, so I'm going to set up, my planter is going to be 16 inches tall, or at least the corners are. So I'm going to use a random piece of wood here, measured 16 inches over from the blade as a stop block. Just going to attach it to my table. Be ready to cut. So utilizing a stop block here really helps speed things up, and also ensures that a lot of the pieces that are repetitive cuts are the same exact size. So uniformity really takes over here. So the main body of the planter is cedar, and what I'm using here is some pressure treated wood for the corners, so it'll last long and hold together. And again, just taking what I've got here, I've got some 2x4s and some 2x6s, and I'm gonna make a corner bracket, I guess, for the corners. So here I am pulling out the 2x4s, 2x6s, some screws. I think I'm using some 3-inch screws here. I'm a pretty big fan of pre-drilling holes. I just hate when things start to split. So there you see me, I'm just picking the best sides, flipping them over, and marking my holes so I can pre-drill and then start screwing together. After I've got all my side pieces cut and the, like I say, I'll call them a corner bracket assembled, I'm going to start putting everything together here. For no particular reason, I just decided to screw these on the inside. Makes it easy. I don't measure, I just uh, put as many as I need in until I feel that it's good. And here you'll see me putting somewhere between 4 and 5 on each board, and I'm using a little spacer there. It's just a thick washer. That way, if the wood decides to expand at all, it's got some room, and then also that provides a little bit of air to the soil. So now that I've flipped this around, you can see how bad that warp is in that board. That's probably a good 3 inches there, but it'll bend into place, and once this wood gets wet for the first time and dries out, it's gonna stay and keep the shape that I force it into. So I've done it plenty of time on plenty of projects, and then always just I do it where I feel it can be appropriate. Never want to give someone something that's gonna fall apart. I just want to mention that most of the projects I build, I would consider them quote unquote budget builds, for the lack of a better term. I do pretty good. I build some pretty cool things for on my end, low cost, and I always try to charge them accordingly to what I would consider, I guess, market value. Don't want to undercut people who do this for a living, and I definitely don't want to undercut myself. So, project here, outside of searching for lumber, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So if I make $100 on it, I'd be happy. If I make a little bit less, I just a little less happy, I guess. But this one here, this would run about $200 if I was going to run out and buy the lumber and put it together. This one here you guys are watching, I would say I'm about $75 in. So no sanding, no staining, limited cutting. So these are the kind of projects that I really enjoy making. You know, I don't have the patience to spend 2 weeks building something. You know, I try and build something in a day, maybe on a weekend. At 10 foot long, these boards can flex, so I'm adding some supports, tying them all together as one, so one board will support the others. This is just before I started putting some of the pieces together, but here I'm pointing out with the sides, how the sides will kind of work. You can see the 2 foot leftovers there, but they'll be seamed together with a support board, just like the sides were. And here I was 4 foot short, 2 foot short actually, from finishing the whole project, but I found that leftover board from another project. So just decided to go ahead and use it. It's got a little corner piece missing, but it's long enough that that corner will be hidden behind the bracket, so it's not losing any kind of structural integrity or anything. So here I am laying out the sides. I was one board short on the pressure treated. Had to go look around the house for something. I've always got projects going on, so I never quite know what I have, but I did find another 2x4, which gave me just enough to finish up this planter. All right, so I got the sides made. If you can kind of see what I'm doing here, we're just gonna spread these 4 foot, and then I'm getting ready to put the sides together, which pretty much will just be held together with the board in the middle. And then when I bring those boards over, I'll screw them in to the corners here. I'm hoping, this, again, I had to use this one because it's the biggest piece I had left over of 1x6. So I'm hoping I don't have a hole showing. So if I do, I'll just go buy one. I don't want it to look bad, but if the hole is covered, I'm good with that. So I've been at it for maybe about an hour. It's not too bad. It's going a lot better than expected. So this will be the exposed side. And let me see if I can do this one-handed. At the point, I put a cap on it. You know, of course it'll be even with the corners there, but it'll have just a little bit of a lip. And then if I can find some 1x6, this will be a 6-inch cap. So they look really nice when they're done like that. I build a lot of my planters. Let's see, basically like that. So, but we'll see. Maybe a temporary thing too. I'm probably gonna put it together just like this, with this being the top, and then see what she wants to do. I can put 2x4s on the top as a cap, 1x4 as a cap, 1x6 as a cap, or I can just leave it alone. So we'll see. It's up to her. All right, so let's finish this up. And the weather turned out just good enough to go over and install it. There it is, finished product.